So hapo tu ndio nikamwambianga Face unipe tu kidogo nionje. Kila siku tu naenda tu nipe. Na pia kukuwa na ninyima.
Bangi, miraa, alcohol. That is where my trend was.
Sasa ilikuwa mimi navuta bangi wakati huo nikiwa secondary, lakini sasa ile kampani nikashikana nayo ikawa ni kampani ya miadarati. Sasa kutoka kwa mabangi nikaingilia staff.
Bangi was in the form of bazooka. Bangi umeweka cocaine ama heroin ndani, umeweka kwa box ya embassy.
Sasa hii ni unga nimechanganya na roster na cospam heroin.
Miss Kevin Kariuki Mboro. I abused drugs for more than a decade, and later on, I offered myself to a call for money.
According to the latest global estimate, about 5.5% of the population aged between 15 to 64 years have used drugs at least once in the past year, while 36.3 million of persons who use drugs suffer from drug use disorders. On our previous research has shown that males have higher substance use rates than females. However, the most commonly abused drugs are tobacco, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and stimulants.
I began socializing with people in the streets, actually known as chokoras. And we could relate with them. They would not beat me, they would not harass me. They were asking me, what are you putting on your ear? No, that is a hearing issue. What happened to your dad? Home kumekuwa na shida, what. By that time I already knew how to smoke and do bangi.
Sam, which is not his real name, is a drug addict who used drugs well at a young age. He narrates how hard it was, but on the other hand, saying that he enjoyed it during his start.
These street boys, they were hosted by a French doctor who was deported, who actually was excommunicated from his medical profession because of using morphine back in France. So he's now in Kenya. His mission is to destroy. He was giving those children bangi mixed with heroin. I didn't know it was heroin at that time. I was just smoking naively and innocently. But my thing was alcohol and cigarettes and a bit of bangi. So I did my KCSE. School leavers party came in, and of course, like many students, we banned the book, we celebrated. Now it was time to go to high school.
This became a norm where he now started graduating to a real drug smuggler in school.
2001, 2000, a very distant school known as Mugiti. Those sides of Mtakaini. The weather is very cold. So that's why I began doing drugs seriously. On one end, I'm very, very bright. Because remember the stories changed in high school, because now I have my hearing gadget with me. I can talk clearly. Therefore my grades went up. Chemistry, bio, geog, everything difficult was like simple to me. If you look at my high school grades, there is nothing less than C+. But I'm doing drugs.
It is saying that some drug addicts get into immoral behaviors such as criminal activities, and this was not too far evident in Sam.
So I was working with a knife. Me, I was not monolized. I was monolizing from force. If you dare me, I just remove a knife. It used to be around my waist. Me vunga na belt hapa. That was now my life, double life. Drug and also in class, performing very well. So, of course, when you're using drugs, we must get ways of making money. The first game was, of course, the game we call rugby, where you snatch somebody's handbag. Me, I was not actually the one who was doing it. Because remember, I have another group of 3 children, and they have been sponsored by the doctor. And this doctor has befriended me already, which means he has taught me the code of doing crime and getting away with it. And of course, the ones who are masterminders are the ones who are never caught, even in the present criminal language. The ones who are on top, they are the ones who always get away with it.
Many times also the youth, you find the peer pressure leads them to, or maybe you have a friend tells you how he or she has been using drugs and tells you, hey, you need to try them. Then when a person starts using them or consuming them, you find there is a need of a second time to try, then you find that person starts using.
Kusema kweli nilianza kutumia staff kulingana, nilikuwa nikisoma shule iko mjini. Nilikuwa nikisoma Serani Secondary School na nikashikana na vijana wa Kiswahili. Nikashikana na vijana wa Kiswahili ambao walikuwa wanatumia mihadarati. Sasa ilikuwa mimi navuta bangi wakati huo nikiwa secondary, lakini sasa ile kampani nikashikana nayo ikawa ni kampani ya mihadarati. Sasa kutoka kwa mabangi nikaingilia staff. Sasa hii miunga nimechanganywa na roster na cospam heroin.
Back in form 2 nilikuwa natumia, friend of mine alikuwa skide wangu, so like alikuwa naona naeka, sasa pia mimi kitu inanivutia, si pia mimi nijaribu. So by the time kila siku nikaendelea kutumia, nikakuwa hivyo ndo venye nikaendelea tu kutumia.
Another thing I have come to find nowadays, it is not just peer pressure. Losing perspective, which is like having stress. Somebody says, I am stressed up. So in order to lower my stress, I will need to go and buy illegal drugs and consume them so that I may feel relaxed, whereas it doesn't solve the problems.
When we talk about addiction, means a person has no control over whether he or she uses a drug or drinks. For example, someone who is addicted to cocaine has grown so used to the drug that he or she has to have it.
There are drugs whereby when you take them, it is like almost impossible to stop using them. So you find a drug like bang, whosoever that starts using it, you find for such a person to stop, it will really take great effort to stop. We have cocaine, heroin, and there are other drugs whereby when you have used them, you will really need to continue using them in order for your body to continue operating, since they change the normal function of the body.
A drug addict like mtu hawezi kaa kama hajatumia madawa. Mostly ni madawa za kulevya. Like hawezi kaa bila. Ama lazima atumie ndo afanye kitu. Ama hata asipotumia unapata maybe ina affect kimwili, like unapata hata ana shake, like hawezi think straight.
Addiction can be physical or psychological or even both. There is no cure for drug addiction, whereas people can manage to treat the addiction, but there is always a risk that the addiction will return.
It is much of how the person operates. For example, I am operating normal today. Few days you find the law that you did know starts changing. Could be talkative, now becomes silent, doesn't want to talk. Or as well, you find a person starts acting weird. The person was not making noise, suddenly the person starts screaming, whereas nobody is causing this person to. Or also you find, at some point you find a person saying, there is somebody chasing me, whereas there is no other person with that person. So you find there is change of mind operation of a person, because this person really is in need of drugs, and at some point you find they haven't gotten them. So you find it changes really the normal operation of the body.
In society, addicts are looked down upon since people are significantly more likely to have negative attitude towards those suffering from drug addiction than those with mental illness, and don't support insurance, housing, and employment policies that benefits those dependent on drugs.
To Form 3, it was evident. Now there was something wrong with me because I was feared by everybody. If you dare question my orders, utajuana mimi nani vizuri. So that is when now my parents realized I was doing drugs. All along they could not know. So I was taken to a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist, and they said I have depression because of you know, when you are diagnosing something, you have to know the history of somebody. So based on what happened in a hospital, and now the divorce and everything, they said I have depression. But I did not say I was being. I minimized the problems and say I was only taking alcohol and cigarettes. I didn't mention bangi and the others. So I was now mixing the bangi with that, and of course, you know, the repercussions will get more high. But all that time, my grades were still intact. Chemistry, bio, physics, A minus, A. Nobody will beat me in chemistry in my entire year, in my entire high school. Commerce, history, yani nilikuwa napata grades poa sana. So now, by that time, because we are going out of school and we are engaging in criminal activities, my friends were going one by one. Shoot out to the police. You know, criminals also graduate. Crime is like a behavior. You start stealing small and then you go big. So that time most of my friends and I were doing some robberies.
Maisha ilikuja ikawa ngumu kabisa. Yaani hata hiyo pesa ya vitabu alikuwa shajua. Mimi sasa nimefika mwisho. Sasa ikabidi ile moment yenye bado nakaa, upati chakula, upati hizo drugs unakosa, watu wamesha kuhepa. Yaani wewe uko na katu mwenda wazimu, wewe ni mchafu. Ushaingia yani vichochoro pia, umerudi home, mamako amekukataa, watu wamekukataa. Sasa tu life iko na tu
To prevent substance use in society, one should develop healthy friendship and relationship by practicing stress management skills, which can help you to overcome these life stresses and will help you to live a balanced and healthy life.
There is different ways in which this can be curbed. So you find the first, there is use of drugs that lower the harmfulness of this drug in the body. Secondly, you find there is rehabilitation of the person who has been affected or whom the drugs have affected their normal operation. So you find when this person has been taken to the rehab, so you find there is counseling as well taking place to help this person forget or stop using this drug, because the longer time this person fails to use, the body may regain back its normal operation.
My name is John Muturi, and by profession I'm a specialist who deals with rehabilitation issues in the society, and I help people to embark back and be part of the community. A large number, they're usually reformed, but we also have a percentage that has issues in reforming and they go astray at all. So we do our best to try and put in measures how we can outreach, how we can reach out to them, how we can create an outreach program that can help the society to embrace them, and also we also try to work with the society deeply enough so that they can also give us information about such cases.
The rehabs face challenges whereby relapse is often a problem, since when you are through with the program and back to your normal lifestyle, you will likely to be faced with cravings, anxiety, anger and stress if you are around people who are still using, whereby you will have to work even harder to stay sober.
The society sometimes can be a little bit strict in handling such people, and also there's a lot of discrimination and a lot of hatred towards people who are trying to reform based on their past experiences. But what we can advise the society is that people should try and embrace them as much as possible, because they are part of the community.
The first thing that the community or the government should do, it is to educate the people the dangers of drugs. You find when drugs are being sold rampantly, it will cause people not to be able to do other tasks. So you find now they will end up thinking of how to use drugs instead of using their mind resourcefully and to bring change in the community.
Recent advances in neuroscience may help improve policies to reduce the harm that the use of tobacco, alcohol, and other psychoactive drugs impose on society.
Having tough policies on those people who are using. If somebody is caught using the drugs, maybe even be jailed 20 years in prison, and then you find people may fear, and not just imposing the policies, but bringing them into practice as well in the community. There be put surveillance or people who may be checking whether there is supply of drugs in the area, because without that the policies might be there, and once there is no monitoring taking place, so you will realize that nothing will be done.
However, drug testing can be a constructive means of helping youth overcome denial of their substance abuse.
Rehabilitation places for those people who have been affected by the drugs or whom have been lost into drugs, so that they can be corrected and be helped to stop. Because once people stop using the drugs, you'll find that there will be no need of selling, and there will be nobody who will be buying these drugs.
Some of the challenges that we face is bad influence, and also easy accessibility of drugs, easy accessibility of illicit products like marijuana, and also nightclubs, and also the youth sometimes are not that compliant with us, so we try as much as possible to reach out to them through creating programs that they can more relate with. We try to create events that are more fun for them, so that we can try and sit down with them and talk to them, and also we try to bring people of influence who can also be able to assist them in accepting the reformation process.
You can also surround yourself with supportive people who encourage you to stay clean, and also seek professional help, where the physician therapist can set you up for success with structured programs and provide you a safe way to prevent relapses.
Not all people who use drugs because of pressure, not all people who use drugs who are led to use drugs, but people start using drugs due to the stress or the trauma that they undergo. So you find if there be such a places of helping people to identify themselves, it will really help them curb the situation.
One of the advice that I would give to the youth is that drug kills. In the long run, it ruins your life, it ruins your family, it ruins each and everybody around you. Remember, you have a life to live, and God brought you into this world to make a purpose. Know your purpose, or else if you don't take care of your life, in the long run, everything is going to be absolutely ruined, and sadly, it may also affect the people who love you, and also it may also put you in jail in a longer run, because at the end of the day, you also have laws in the countries which try to govern sanity and order. And if you get out of order, sadly, you may find yourself in jail, or in a worst case, dead. So let's try and embrace healthy living. Let's try and open up to our community leaders, whoever person that we feel free, so that we can both coexist without being able to reach to this level of having to visit a rehabilitation center.